Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about standard form. So standard form, let's see, is going to be A times X plus B times Y equals C. And in this particular case, A, B, and C all have to be integer. So A, B, and C all have to be integers, as in they have to be whole numbers. No fractions, no decimals. Okay, so for example, if we have 3x plus 2y equals 7, that means that the A value is going to be 3 because that's the number, that's the integer that is next to the x. Our B value is going to be 2 because that's the integer next to the y, and then our C value is the poor C, it's all by itself, but this is our C value. Okay, so you guys are pretty comfortable with slope-intercept form and point-slope form. So let's go from slope-intercept form first. So if we have y equal, here, let me draw a line so you guys can see, y equals 3x plus 2. In this case, it's really nice. All we have to do is move this part over to the other side. Right now, this is a positive 3x, or plus, and then we have to subtract 3x from both sides. These cancel, and we get negative 3x plus y equals 2. And it's in our it is in our standard form. We don't have to do anything else. I know this part's going to drive you guys nuts, and I am so sorry. But when we do things where we have, for example, y equals, let's say 2/3 x plus 2. We need to cancel out our denominator right here. So in order to cancel out that lovely denominator, we need to multiply everything, because remember the distributive property, by that denominator. So I'm going to multiply it all by 3. And so when we do that, 3 times y becomes 3y. And the nice thing is that then the 3 and the denominator cancel each other out, which just leaves that 2x. And then we have to distribute to that other one, which would be 6. And then we're back to where we were, for example, that first one. So we are going to subtract 2x from both sides. Okay. And so we get negative 2x plus 3y equals 6. And so this is just how we move things into standard form. I also want to do one where I show you if it's in point slope form how that works. So let's I'm gonna move this around. So let's say we have point slope form. Y minus 2 equals 3 times x plus 4. Okay, so this is our lovely point slope form, but we can't leave it like this. In order to get where we want to go, we have to distribute, and what we're going to be distributing is just that 3. So we're going to distribute this right here to everything. So the left side of our equal sign can stay, y minus 2, and that becomes 3 times x, which is 3x, plus 3 times 4, which is 12. And it brings us kind of back to this situation. So I'm going to go and subtract 3x from both sides because I need that on this side. And then we get negative 3x plus y minus 2 equals 12. Well, remember, on the left side of the equal sign, we only want that x and y value. So now I have to go in and I have to get rid of that minus 2. And in order to get rid of the minus 2, we add 2 to both sides. And so then we get negative 3x plus y equals 14. And now it is in standard form. Okay? So this is just how we do the standard form. But if we're talking about graphing things, because I know that can be really important, what we're going to do is we're going to look for the intercepts. Intercepts. And the way that the intercepts work, it's usually x is something when y is 0, and x is 0 when y is something. And so it works really nicely for our standard form because you find those intercepts, plot them, and then just connect the dots. So if we had 3x plus 2y equals 6, for example, to find our x-intercept, so I'm just going to label x-int, and we want the x because that's what we're finding, but we want to get rid of that y. So I'm going to do 3x plus 2 times 0 equals 6. Remember, 2 times 0 is 0, so it becomes 3x plus 0 equals 6, or you could just write it as 3x equals 6. Divide by 3 on both sides, because we want, the whole point is to try and get x by itself. So then it's going to be x equals 2. And so what this means is that when y is 0, x is 2. So our x-intercept would be 2, 0. So this is one of our points. And remember how we talked about coordinate points? Each of those coordinate points lies on the line. So now let's change colors and do this for our y's. So 3x plus 2y equals 6. And I'm just going to keep the same way, except remember, this is our y-intercept this time, so I'm looking for this one. So instead of being x, we're going to put in a 0. So it becomes 3 times 0 plus 2y equals 6. 3 times 0 is 0 plus 2y, which equals 6. So that's just 2y equals 6. And we're going to divide by 2. Notice how I show all my steps. That helps. It's going to help a lot more. So then it becomes y equals 3. So for that point would be 0 and a positive 3. And then we'll graph those points and then just connect the lines. Okay? So remember, our first goal, get rid of the fractions. We want them in integer form. We want all of this to be nice. And then we just find our intercepts. We are going to find our intercepts and graph it. Remember, if you have questions, there is lunch, there is home base, and I will talk to you guys later.